MeTV 24 Meridian proudly presents your favorite way to start the day. Welcome to Mornings with Scotty Ray and Candace.
And good morning from Scotty Ray and Candace as we begin. This is what, Thursday?
It is.
All right, I first got to start off by, what's up with you?
Sorry, I got a little...
You got a lump in your head?
Little height, too much height on my hair. Right now.
Okay, tall hair in the studio. But let me start off by making an apology for last night when I went live with the weather and I didn't notice for 3-4 minutes or better that nobody could hear me.
I'm glad you ignore my messages, Scotty. I'm trying to call you. I'm trying to message you on Facebook. Well, stay on. We can't hear anything.
Well, see, it sounds a lot like the alarms that go off when the weather's going, so I wasn't paying it a lot of attention. And then it finally caught my eyeball that the meters weren't moving, as you can see on our screen.
I finally called Angie. I said, go up there and tell Scotty Ray that we can't hear the weather, and nobody has heard anything he said.
So I babbled and made these facial expressions for, I don't know how long it was, but it was downright embarrassing. Let's just call it the way it really was.
Well, it's okay.
We want to remind you, kicking off this morning, so if you are a big peanut eater, the bowl peanuts have arrived downtown Marion, Mississippi. They're Cajun and salted. And they'll be there for today through the 4th. $8 for a gallon bag. You can call them at 693-1361 and save you some. The Hamasa Shriners do so much for our community. And if you can at all help them out by getting a little bit of that, we do appreciate that.
Yes, that would help.
Thursday, as we head into the weekend, New York has taken a plummeting. The very first time they got a warning that they had never gotten before with the weather there, as flood warnings came into New York. Unreal the amount of water that they've taken on.
I thought I had heard this morning that a child was killed.
9 people have died in New York.
Oh, goodness.
So that list is just, and if you've seen any of the pictures coming from the subways, awful. And they're not used to what we are.
Imagine being so, down there. That is scary.
The only time I've ever been near a subway was at underground Atlanta, and I don't know if that's really a subway, but it is under town. It kind of spooky now. I don't know if I'd go through that part of Atlanta anymore.
Not long ago, one of the subways had flooded, and I saw where people were wading through that nasty water trying to get to where they had to go.
Well, you take Slidell, Louisiana, wading out to your shed and get eaten by an alligator.
That's awful. That was horrible.
That poor gentleman died there.
Yes.
And from what I understand, his wife had got him away from the gator, and she goes in the house to call for help, and the gator came back. I don't know that for 100%, but that's awful.
Yes, that's the stuff you don't think about in an emergency situation. You think about just trying to the floodwaters.
And as we look at the headlines this morning, this one is shame, shame, and even more shame. An Ole Miss student has been sentenced to life in prison. Are you up to date on all this?
I'm not on this.
Happened back in 2019. A guy's going to college there. I guess he's one of the little partiers. And his girlfriend comes to him and says she thinks she's pregnant. He shoots her 8 times in the stomach and kills her. After they do the autopsy and all of those that they do, she was not pregnant in the end. And he murdered that girl for no reason. And he will now spend the rest of his life in prison. To me, that's not good enough.
I think there's too much of that. There's too much of that spending. I mean, a lot of people don't believe in the death penalty, but
capital punishment has a reason. It stops other people from doing it, in my opinion. You may not agree with me on that, but one thing's for sure, he ain't gonna break out of jail and do it again if that's handled that way.
Right.
That's my personal opinion. It puts a stop to things.
That is a horrible thing, though. I can't imagine losing my child, and especially at any time losing your child. But losing your child to something like that is horrible.
So prayers to their family.
Well, his family too. I mean, you don't expect your child to do some crazy
I think it was a big shock to them also as they sat in the courtroom on all of this. But that's one of the headlines that is out there this morning. And I brought this up this morning. And this is let me just show you a picture of this. Alan West, who is running for governor of Texas, his wife was pulled over and given a DUI. And Alan West kept saying, my wife was not drunk. Well, you think everybody would say that. Well, it turns out she really wasn't. She had not had anything to drink, and she went to jail because she blinked too many times. And the cop looked at that as failing the sobriety test and arrested her and booked her and took her to jail.
So they didn't actually do where they did
after they got to the jail, it was done, and then it was sent off, and that's how she was proven that she was not drunk.
Yeah,
but
that's not a
she
good
blinked, and I feel for them, but the damage is done on these kind of cases, and you can't take that back out of national headline news. There's nothing that can be done.
Yeah, that's public embarrassment. I mean,
But, the average guy will never see that she's been cleared, because most news agencies are going to be quiet about it because it doesn't grab that big headline like it did before.
Yeah.
So we think about them during that, and he trugs on. He kept saying she was innocent, and she really was.
I hate that for them, because that is, but I mean, I'm sure the people who know them know, that she wasn't drinking. But yeah, that somebody ought to have to answer for that.
And and not everything that you stumble upon. And I'm not a cop. I've never done the ride along. I don't know what those guys face. It's got to be real bad when you get out of a car and you don't know what you're approaching at night. But you have also seen the videos of somebody that's having a sugar attack, and they think they've been drinking. I watched one of them. You remember the Cops Live? They whooped up on that old boy bad, and he was just having a medical spell.
Oh, goodness.
And he couldn't get out of the car, and they went to breaking windows and drug him out and treated him bad. I felt sorry for the old boy.
Yeah.
But in the end, he got better. Now, as we move along, this is already, 7 minutes after 8 o'clock as we get this day going. Mm-hmm. Coming up in a minute, we got our special guest from downtown Meridian. He's joining us, and Percy Bland's going to be with us here to talk all about what he's been doing since he got out of office, what he did while he was in office, just some great questions that we've got lined up. We're looking forward to the interview, and I hope you'll stay around with us to talk about that. It's going to be fun this morning to find out what really went on behind the scenes that, we didn't know about at the time.
Yeah.
There's always more stories to things that go on. Mm-hmm. Let's head out to Collinsville, that area there, to Center Hill. Where do you go? Well, Chet's Paint and Body. Chet is one of the best there is. I've known Chet all my life. He's painted more cars than you can ever dream of.
Some of mine.
Let's just say several.
Times.
737-2961 is the number. If you've got an issue with your car, I'm telling you, Chet will work with you to get this done. This is a truck that's come through that's had to have a little body work down the side. Maybe a mailbox or something caught it. I'm not sure what the case was, but it was worked on.
Was that a little poke at me?
It might have been. It could have been. Sometimes this happens a lot here. When you leave your door open and you back up and you catch a post and it slams up against the side of it. It was put back just the way it was before it ever happened. Mustang binged. Yeah, we got that fixed. Even down to the aluminum beds on those Ford trucks taken care of. They can do all that for you. Now, this is one that's been slammed into from behind, or that looks like somebody bumped into somebody from behind, couldn't stop quick enough.
Could hit one of those blue garbage cans that they put out in the middle of the road.
That will happen, especially if you're staring at your ex-wife, and I'm not calling anybody's friend and run over their garbage can. I swear that happened. Chet's Paint and Body. This is their paint booth here. You name it, they can paint it and put it back to the way it was. They'll process all the insurance work for you. They'll call your insurance company, take care of it, have you a rental car, get it all set up for you. Where do you do it? 737-2961. Chet's Paint and Body. You'll find them in Center Hill today.
I was leaving home with a car full of my friends when suddenly we were thrust off of the road. A direct hit from behind. We were involved in a car accident.
I'm Mississippi Attorney Richard Schwartz. I'm proud to represent the people of the great state I call home.
I'm JC from Starkville, Mississippi, and it took one call, and that was all. I called my Mississippi attorney, Richard Schwartz, and he got me $200,000.
If you need me, Mississippi, remember, one call, that's all.
And welcome back with Scotty Ray and Candace. As we welcome our guests this morning, let's do a close-up shot of Mr. Percy there. There's Percy. How are you this morning?
Doing Scotty Ray and Candace.
Good.
Glad to have you with us.
Glad to be here.
Now, I caught something, and I can't seem to find the picture now. Since you're the only one in the room that's ever met the man, I wanted to ask you about it. I saw a picture of you with Joe Biden.
Yes, sir.
Where'd you meet him at?
I grew up in Jackson, and he was at the church I grew up in at New Hope Baptist Church in Jackson, Mississippi, right before, maybe 2 or 3 months before the final general election. So, he got a chance to meet a lot of people that the pastor of the church kind of set aside, and I got a chance to meet him and take a picture with him there. And, during the campaign, the first part of it, I actually was for Bloomberg, and and eventually transitioned over to Joe Biden's team. And so I got a chance to meet him and talk to him, and talk to a person that I was going to utilize in some things we were doing here in the city of Meridian, who finished at Tougaloo College, a college that both my parents went to, that is a lead person that is still with his team. So that's how I got a chance to meet him. One of my friends, of course, knew some people that were working for him, and after Bloomberg, was out of the race, that's who I pulled for.
I forgot all about Bloomberg even being involved in. Is Joe one of those that when you meet him, he seemed like on television that you could just sit down and have a Coke with him, that type of person?
Yeah, he's down to earth. I mean, he was very approachable, and always had a little joke or two. So every time somebody else took a picture with him or said something to him, those guys always have a joke or two. So he has a personality. So
and I warn you, if you told him any of your stories, it might become his story.
Yeah.
He kind of gets confused as time goes.
Yeah.
So that's good. Well, what have you been doing since the election? You've been at home and back to business, so to speak. Now,
Yep. Scotty Ray. So biggest thing is I'm a small business owner. I have my insurance business, and a lot of the things that I was able to do to become mayor, happened because my engagement in my small business. So I'm gonna do a shameless plug real quick.
Go ahead.
I do my State Farm, 601-482-5171. If you guys need any home insurance, car insurance, we're ready to take care of it. Also, a lot of people right now, because of what's going on with COVID, and just seem like in the world today, a lot of people are in need of life insurance for them and their family. I do that as well. So that's what I'm doing a lot of right now, and spending a lot of time that I lost with my family over the last 8 years. So a lot of my time will be with them and catching up with my son as a sophomore in high school, and my daughter's a sophomore in college, and just getting a chance to catch up with them.
So for the folks that don't know, you're sitting as mayor. It's 5 o'clock. Everybody else goes home. How much time after 5 o'clock did you was dedicated to really running the city after you left the office?
Yeah, problems happen 24 hours a day in a city the size of Meridian. And so a lot of times after hours, talking to people that were either department heads or middle management folks about things that have either happened during the day or projects that we're working on that have been forecasted out sometimes. So, a lot of times, we were on the phone to 10 or 11 o'clock at night discussing matters that related to sometimes city business. So it was one of those things that no matter, and that's one of the things, Scotty Ray, like the personal time now, that I'm able to do. I just really didn't realize it at the time, even on the weekends and after hours, how much time, was just going on with things that were happening with city business. And it could be in any department, from the police department to public works, Parks and Rec events that were going on, and then a lot of the things that we were doing specifically to generate the energy and the vibe for downtown, in community development, calls for a lot of communications after hours. So it didn't stop at 5 p.m. at the end of the day. Yeah.
So you were in for what year did you go in? What was that, your first year?
2013.
Yeah, boy, that doesn't seem that long ago, does it?
No. But when you look back at the pictures, my kids were very young, and they think they grown now. So 8 years went by fast, but it was more like 12 years instead of 8. But we enjoyed every day of it, we did some really, really great things in those 8 years that we're very proud of.
All right, so we've got City Hall most likely going to be moving over to the old mall before long. That got in the works. Out of all of the projects and everything that went on in Meridian during that 8 years, what is the one thing that you put your hand on and you say, I'm proud of that. I did that as mayor, and that is sort of my legacy. What is that one project?
Scotty, I'm gonna be honest with you. I really don't have one. I'll end up talking about a lot of them, I'm sure, in this interview. The biggest thing, one of the earliest things that we did, Scotty Ray, was when I became mayor, the minimum wage, of course, is still $7.25 an hour. We enacted a Livable Wage Act that pushed, and a lot of the guys that work and girls that work in public works and also Parks and Rec were at or around minimum wage. We went to the council and got what was called a Livable Wage Act that moved everyone up who was at minimum wage to at least $9 an hour. When we did that, that increase also shifted anybody who was at $9 or $10 an hour up as much as we could to new levels of pay, because to me, the city of Meridian always had very low pay scales for a lot of their employees. One of the biggest things that I always tried to do was to show the people, show the council, show my team that we need to adjust the pay for a lot of the positions in city government. So that was really big. And also one of the biggest things was modernizing the policies of civil service. And, that was something that was very big. A lot of the things that happened to me, it didn't give opportunities for people who may have had records of any sort. They had to wait 3 years before they were ever able to be hired with the city of Meridian. So we got those policies changed, and we allowed a lot of people who, especially in the public works department, would not have been allowed a chance to ever work with the city to work. And a lot of those people, Scotty Ray, they moved on up to be supervisors. They've done well, never had any issues with a lot of those people who came up who had a checkered past. And so, building projects, a lot of multi-million-dollar projects we did in the 8 years that we not only started, initiated, but actually completed in 8 years that I'm very proud about. Some of the biggest things are the smaller things that people really won't see, but it actually started some of the momentum that gave us opportunity to do some of the things that we eventually did later on. So those are some of the things I'm most proud about.
Oh, well, and there was a lot of challenge, if I'm not mistaken, to get the arts and entertainment, wasn't it? From other cities, weren't they trying to get that?
Yeah, so that, and the fact that, that initiated back probably in 1999, and it got approved probably in 2001 over there in the state legislature, state houses, but it took 20 or almost 20 years to go from what they put on paper to actually getting it done. When it was finally brought to us that we needed to do something about it, there was a lot of big talk about where does the max need to go? Does it need to go out near Bonita? Does it need to go downtown? And, the people who had a lot of interest in it, always thought that it needed to be closer to downtown. The issue was the community ready to vote and approve a 60% referendum to get that deal done? And from a timing standpoint, it was very bad timing, politically, to do what we did with that referendum to get it passed. But it was something that needed to be done because it had been on the books for so long and nothing happened. And,
how long would that tax that was put on? Wasn't it a restaurant tax? How long would that last?
It should last hopefully for 15 to 20 years.
Okay.
But it's a 2% tax, and they're doing very well off of that. The city has been doing very well off of our sales tax revenues. What we tried to do before that deal happened was to share that tax and try to throw in a sports complex or another percentage of that. And what our legal folks and also our lobbyists told us that we could not change the language of what was done in 1999 or 2001 whenever it was written. So it had to go in exactly as it did. So all the money supports the max, and we could not tie in another project with it. But at the end of the day, between the max and the Children's Museum and all the other investments that have been made downtown, to me, truly revitalized downtown, and all the things that you're seeing happening and the new small businesses that are happening downtown is again off of those projects that were initiated in our first term. And speaking
of the Children's Museum, I know that there was a lot of controversy from from business owners about the street leading up to 22nd Avenue Bridge. Has that been settled to where, when you left office, I'm not sure what's happening. Is it going to be one way, or is it still going to remain the way it is? What's the last?
It's going to be when you leave out of downtown from Loeb's and where the Castle building will be right there on the corner. When you take that right at the stop sign going back out of downtown, it's going to be a 1 lane on that bridge, and it's going to be a 2 lane going into the city, but it's going to be just 1 lane going over that bridge, and then it's going to divert then to 2 lanes going on down Cedar Ward Parkway. But the thing is, Scotty and Candace, you can't make everybody happy. It's 20 business owners on 22nd Avenue there, small business owners, and I'm sure no matter what happened, even if we just paved the road, the 4 lanes there and left everything the same, we still would not have made all 20 of them happy. There's compromise that has to be done a lot of times in government to eventually get projects done. And it's just like any decision that any leader makes, you're not going to make a lot of people happy sometimes getting to a decision and moving forward with it. But to answer your question, I think that project is going to happen. We did meet a few times with all the business owners of land or property on 22nd Avenue. And I think we did as much as we could to compromise with them to make the deal go forward. And I think that's what happened.
Now, and Candace, you probably agree with this. I think everybody agrees that coming into Meridian, that not seeing the falling down mall, that was the biggest eyesore I think Meridian had to offer. It just looked like that town is over when you passed us.
Yeah, I worked at the old mall. It was kind of a sad thing to see it go, even though it was run down and everything. But yeah, I mean, it does look a lot better. It looked a lot better when it's gone. But
from the interstate, how's this going to look? Because I have not seen pictures or plans or anything of what the city what all is going there. So how's that going to look from the road? So
the county, that's a county project over there. You probably need to get the president or vice president of the county board up in here. That's their project. It's they're building their county courthouse there, and they're also one of the old LabCorp building. I think it's going to be used for the sheriff's department and some other offices over there. But that is going to be solely that 40 some acres right there, 39.9 acres. That is all county land. They bought that land. It was going to, of course, help out the city because you got all the projects that are happening downtown, and then you're going to have a large investment over there by not just the county. They're going to have a lot of parcels there. They're going to be worth some money there, and I think there's going to be a new business going there in the old Fred's building pretty soon.
Good.
So it won't be just an eyesore anymore. It'll be some activity over there. But the bottom line of it is that is their project. It's not a city project. We were going to probably help coordinate that street that the city owns right there, leading up to their land over there with them. But that's totally a county project.
Okay, well, I'm glad you pointed that out. Look, makes sense after you say that.
Yeah. While we're talking about all of the things that have been built in downtown Meridian, to revitalize the town, don't you think like that the crime in Meridian has a big impact on people coming to Meridian, even though we have these big, nice, like the Max, and we have the Children's Museum, which is, I mean, I've not been to the Max yet, but I've been to the Children's Museum. It's a wonderful place. I mean,
Max is
it's
gorgeous.
Great. Yeah, and I've heard that the Max is really a nice place. And the Riley Center and everything where we have the concerts. And I just think that, I don't want to say, because it's not money thrown away. It's not. It's a great thing that is added to this town, but...
Which part?
The buildings that have been built. Okay. It's a great thing that it's been added to the town, or the city. But what about people coming? And people are afraid to come into the Meridian now. And I'm not just blowing that out of proportion. They are really afraid. I mean, I work in town. I live in the county, but I work in town. And people are genuinely, we hear it every day, and it's been going on for a while. And
well, we have to, I think, step back after you left office, and also after Chief Reed left office. We have now, is it 9 murders?
A lot.
Is that where we are? I believe it is.
But what do you think that could have been done different, I guess, in the past and in the future? I mean, what do you take on that?
Well, I think dealing with crime just in general, I mean, having enough law enforcement officers to be engaged in the community and have relationships with the people in town. It is very important. You specifically spoke about downtown.
Right.
And when I was in office, of course, we had people who would be around all the downtown businesses, trying to, let them know that they were there. We used to have a person always at City Hall to make sure nothing happened from just not City Hall, but all around that area. You're talking about the investments that have been made downtown, and now you're going to have a great hotel, and you're going to have Castle's business there, and you're going to have, of course, all the other things that are going on there. And they still do have an officer. Used to be an officer that went around on a Segway. When I was there, JoJo Turner, now it's Officer McQueen. He goes around in his vehicle, and he gives out his cards day to day to those small business owners. So we try to, and I'm sure that the next administration is going to try to make sure that people feel safe spending their money downtown and spending their money at their hotels. Candace, over the last 12 to 18 months that I was in office, we had the largest sales tax revenues in the history of this city of Meridian. So people, even though I do know there were still a lot of perceptions and things about crime and what happens downtown, people from not just the city of Meridian, but from other places were spending their money and were doing business with our small businesses, not just in downtown, but also at the mall area. Go ahead, Candace.
Let me ask this on the situation of the crime and everything. I think most people, and it was really on a quiet note for years, that Meridian had gangs. I think without a doubt everybody now sees that, yes, we do. Does the police department or maybe your office or the mayor's office just in general, do they not know there's, I'm told, 2 to 3 to 4 different type gangs. Do they not know who runs these gangs? Can there not be more done with, because 9 murders is just too high for any town. Well, we had a 5-year-old child die. Can they not be brought in, the leaders of these, and something done, talked with, told to back off, do something? Because it's almost like right now they're running wild.
Yeah, it's like they're running the city almost.
We have a gang war issue going on in the city of Meridian right now, and people who live in the city who are aware of certain things know that. And the bottom line of it, hopefully Chief Young and her team will get a hold of what has happened over the last 2 months or so with influx of a lot of murders. So that is the issue or problem of this administration. I do feel, like the things that we were doing as I left with Chief Reed and some of the state and federal relationships that we had going on with some of the issues that you're talking about now. We had a lot of good intel that we were working on to decrease this violence that's going on in the city. The bottom line of it is, to just say this for law enforcement, they do have a tough job. It has been very, very tough over the last 2.5 years to recruit officers and retain officers. But at the end of the day, right now, I do think that the people that are in law enforcement, the new chief, she will have challenges to make those things happen. But we all need to support what they do. You need to have her even in on your show. So
I'd love to have her.
That this is an engagement when you're dealing with crime and that sort of thing, and the things that Candace just talked about. It's just not up to the police department or the sheriff's department. It is truly a community working together. One good thing that Chief Reed did do, and we talked about those things early on, was he engaged all communities, black, white, everybody, to try to get to the bottom of a lot of things that were going on as it relates to these issues in our community. And one thing about me, Scotty Ray, I don't have an issue talking about, and I didn't have an issue talking with my team about the perceptions of things and the areas that were hot spots in the city. and of course talking to Chief Reed about the things that as a chief in this city, you know, some of what his challenges would be as chief, and some of the challenges that I face being the mayor in this city. So there are always going to be challenges when you're in leadership, but I mean, the first thing is I was the first mayor to initiate the fact that we needed a gang task force because we did have organized gangs in the city of Meridian, and we organized a gang task force. That task force got, you know, broken up, and it hurt. It really hurt a lot of the things that we were doing because we had good intel both at the youth level and at the adult level, because the people in that unit had great relationships with a lot of the people in those organizations, and a lot of the things that were going on because of their relationships with the community and with a lot of people who were in and out of those gangs. We were able to dissolve, and we were able to stop a lot of more violent things that could have happened. But at the end of the day, there's going to be some crime. I'm saying that whoever's the mayor, whoever's the police chief, there's going to have to be total communication and engagement of the entire community. We got business owners downtown who just invested a lot of money downtown, and so they probably go home at night thinking of what the questions that you're asking me. So the bottom line of it is we try to put in place resources and people and things so that we could alleviate a lot of those things, not just from happening downtown, but to have the resources where they also are going on in the communities in the city.
Let me, I want to ask something, like, when do we quit, like, or put a hold on building more buildings or building more things to bring money into the city, and put the money that we have into more pay for law enforcement to entice them to come and work for the city, you know, as a police officer or a sheriff's department, you know, deputy? When do we address that? Because I think that's a big problem. We can all agree they don't get paid near enough you know, to do the job that they do. When there's other people who get paid a whole lot more to just sit there and make decisions. And decisions that impact a whole city, and not just the people in the city, the people in the surrounding areas, because they come to the city to work, to spend their money and stuff like that. So I guess, you know, when do we address that? And when, you know, why can't some money, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with putting money into parks, but I think you can't even go to the parks for feeling unsafe, you know, sometimes now. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I know Highland Park, people used to go there and have birthday parties at the carousel. I mean, I personally, I wouldn't do that for anything right now, because it's just, I don't feel safe. The girl that I went to high school with posted yesterday on Facebook that she was going down by Meridian High School and a gunshot went off right by her car at 7 p.m. yesterday. You know, so it's scary. I mean, when do we start paying our officers more? And
so Candace, Scotty Ray. So I'm here. Yeah. I'm here as the former mayor of the city of Meridian.
I know. I just want to.
So I'm going to say one thing. My opinion is we spent a lot of money. We gave Mississippi State University $30,000 to do a citywide pay scale evaluation on all of our positions.
Right.
We ended up using that evaluation, that report, to come back and give pay increases to the police department and fire department, putting them at or above most all municipalities in this area off of that pay scale evaluation. We also realigned positions from master police officer all the way up, lieutenant rank, sergeant, all the way up to chief, so that we could be more competitive. I still think that we need to pay our middle management people and our top people more money. We have done a lot of things to show people what people at or below those middle levels should be making, and if it's done fairly, we are in position to pay those people a lot more as a municipality. Now, it took a year to do that study, then it took a year of convincing the first council to look at it, then it took another year to convince the new council, which would have been the 2017 council, to vote on it and initiate it to change our pay scale. So it took almost 3 years to go from the study part of that to actually paying people that. And when you talk about progressive cities and sharing a vision, it's not just in the form of government that we have. The mayor can do whatever he wants to do sometimes, but if the city council does not support that vision and work with that, it means nothing. So it took a long time to get some of the things you're talking about to be able to pay people more money. But I'm going to tell you this, no matter what you pay people, some people are going to do a great job in their job and going to take a lot of pride in it. Some people aren't. We try to get those levels up there so that we can have more options on the quality of product and people we recruit and bring in. But at the end of the day, I think right now in the police department, we are at where a lot of other municipalities that pay their people are paying them. We're not up where Biloxi and some of the other bigger ones are paying them. We're still trying to get there. But the way that evaluation scale is done, if that person has rank or if that person has a lot of experience, the chief or the top level manager does have some flexibility in being able to recruit them at a higher pay coming in the door.
At the end of the day, it's law enforcement.
Right.
It just, we can't help it. It's statewide.
Right. And Scotty Ray, you told me that, I don't know, you said 300,000 or 400,000 people watch this show. I see all the small businesses that are engaged with paying you guys money to pay for advertising.
Right.
The current people, the police chief, those people need to communicate to the public, you know, what their plans are so that the public and other people can embrace what they're trying to do and help them, because I'm a small business owner too, and the things that Candace is talking about is going to affect all of us. So we're not going anywhere. Everyone is here in the city of Meridian, but a lot of the people who are spending their money in the city of Meridian don't live sometimes in the city of Meridian, but they want to feel safe. And I think the only way that people feel safe is to have communications. This is what they're doing, and this is how they're going to make them feel more safe. And again, part of being in law enforcement, especially that chief's role, is very political, because you have got to be out there advocating for what you're doing and making people feel safe. I can only say that people are spending money right now, Candace, in the city of Meridian, and our sales tax revenues are really good, and it's helping a lot of the things that it will help to pay for more police officers, more streets being paved, city schools, you know, having money, and MCC having money. Yeah. I don't know what is going on with the current administration. I came here because Mr. Scotty Ray asked me to talk about the things that we did.
Right.
So I want to say that I think, Scotty Ray, this is a very nice seat over here, very nice microphone. Some of those guys need to speak to you guys on what their plans are and what they're doing.
And the door is open for that.
And the door is open for that. So I just want to say that, Candace.
Yeah.
No, I agree. But I mean, some of this stuff was going on even when you were in office.
Yes,
that's why I asked. That's why I asked the question. But I would like to know
So Candace, we finally did get our level of pay up. And like I said, a lot of things that the mayor takes on, every time there's a shooting or a robbery, it's going to end up being the mayor's fault or the police chief's fault. It's no way around it. That's when you sit in these chairs, that's what ends up happening. And the bottom line of it is, from a standpoint of resources, money, and having the right people in positions is the only thing that the mayor or the police chief can do. Some things are going to still happen, but again, whoever's in that seat needs to have relationships with people outside of Meridian that can help them, and also the right people on the ground doing certain things in the community, because it's a lot of relationship issues that our police department has to work out with the community.
All right, we'll be right back with more questions with Percy. Let's head over and talk about Maple's One Stop Shop. And this is some folks right here that are locally owned, operated. They've got stores set up all around downtown Meridian. You know, you'll find them in several places. North Hills, of course, the Chevron station on the corner, you'll find that right across from Mr. Discount Drugs there. You can't miss them. When you get gas, put your name on the back of your receipt. You go inside and you drop it in the hat and give it to the cashier, and they're giving away a $50 fuel card each week. You could be the winner of that. They do that at all their locations. Make sure to check that out. Great stores, clean. If you need a cup of coffee in the morning, maybe you need it in the afternoon. They keep the hot coffee going on all throughout the day. And, of course, fountain drinks. You're either a fountain drink type person or you're the bottled drink. I am more the bottle because I put that cup in my truck and I'm going to spill it. It doesn't matter what happens. But as clean, nice stores, no matter where you go, they're going to make sure it's the absolute. And if you're looking for a quick lunch, they've got that the pizza, a bag of potato chips, and also a fountain drink, all for $4.99.
You can't beat that.
No, you can't. You can get that at the Bonita Chevron or Pine Springs Country Store. Again, if you're looking to go fishing, they've got this also out at the country store as you go along. And as we know, lotto tickets, it could be your day. They've got plenty of them. 4 locations. Bonita Chevron here. You'll find that by Bonita Lakes Mall, Pine Springs Country Store, or the Last Chance Tobacco Store in Broadmoor Chevron. See them all today. That's Maple's one-stop shop.
First 10 days following an accident are crucial. Insurance companies don't wait. They have a staff of adjusters, attorneys, and investigators collecting information that can be used against you.
Call Richard Schwartz today.
And welcome back with Scotty Ray and Candace with our special guest this morning, Percy Bland, former mayor of Meridian, Mississippi. And what you brought up just a second ago, right then while we're off there, that you wanted to bring up something. What was that you wanted to say?
Candace was asking me questions about some things that happened while I was in office. And
Right.
I did want to talk about just briefly some of the things that I feel, because one of the biggest things is a lot of people don't know what happens or happen to get to projects being done and major accomplishments happening. There's a lot of things that end up happening, in government. And again, as I told you guys, government is not easy because no matter what a mayor wants to do, if it's not a vision that the council supports and other buy-in from other either business leaders or people in the community, it just doesn't happen. And when you talk about some of the things that are going on right now, even in the city of Meridian, it is off the efforts that our administration started and put in place and left for the next administration to complete and to follow through with if that happens. And one or two of those things is we have a $12 million paving bond that myself and the last council implemented. A lot of the streets that are being paved in the city right now in the city of Meridian, we're very proud about those things because that started under our watch. We split up that money, $6 million now and $6 million to be done at the back end when the first $6 million of paving is complete. But Scotty Ray, our streets in this entire city of Meridian are almost irreparable. It will take hundreds of millions of dollars to truly pave all of the streets that need to be paved in the city of Meridian. And one of the things I felt like that I did not do a good enough job was explaining and making people understand, how all of those things happen. They just think that we just have a bucket of money that we can just either pave all the streets or just fix all the potholes all at once. But that it doesn't happen like that.
Because we were nicknamed there for a little while Pothole Meridian.
There you go. But there are potholes and there are bad streets in a lot of cities across the state of Mississippi, and especially a lot of urban cities similar to Meridian. And that's why I'm talking to Candace, some of those projects that we're talking about that are coming here so people can spend their money from outside of Meridian. That money helps to pay for paving streets and fixing potholes and putting more officers on the streets and all that type of stuff. Also, we did a large water meter project where we changed all the residential and commercial water meters, modernizing our water meters throughout the entire city. That will go on for years. And also this $125 million EPA consent decree that's being worked on now. That is going to again help us with our water sewer issues that we were non-compliant with from an EPA standpoint that other mayors before me never addressed. And those are the type of things that you put in place. It helps you to be able to market your city a whole lot better so that people will want to bring businesses here and do other things here that they will want to invest in your city. We did a large project at Magnolia area, which is the Velma Young Center, for $2.1 million. We did that so that area can be a place that young people and older people can use to enrich their lives in a very blighted area. And also the lighting projects that we did with Mississippi Power all over the city of Meridian, and also the major lighting project that you're going to see on Highway 20 pretty soon. That was a major project done with MDOT that's going to transform the city of Meridian. It looks very dim coming and going out of the city right now, but over the next 2 years, you're going to see, I don't know if you've been to Newton, you've been at Newton at night, you see it's just one exit, but when you come and go out of Newton, it's like you're going to this very bright city.
You can see it.
You can see it. That's how Meridian is going to look for all 4 or 5 of our exits, and I think it's going to change, the game as far as what people visualize when they come into Meridian. So a lot of the things that have happened, we're very proud about. A lot of things we had to do, just like this new administration, they may not go in the same direction that we did on some of these projects. I had to come in and I had to change some things when I first came into office. One of the last things that I did, Scotty Ray, was I got us out of a very, very bad deal with the Meridian Police Department building.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was a building that we were paying $24,500 a month for lease. That last year, from October of 20 all the way until whenever I got out of office, that lease went up to like $49,500. It was going to be $49,500 up until the year 2043 or 2044. That was going to cost the taxpayers up to $13 to $14 million in lease payments for a building that used to be an old grocery store or Cowboy Maloney building. And that was a very bad lease deal to the citizens of Meridian. This administration, myself personally, had to talk to the owners of that building and through David Watkins, who helped initiate that deal with the past administration, to get us out of a very bad deal situation. So a lot of times, a lot of people don't know how their money is being spent. It's always all these conspiracy theories about this, that, and the other that happens in the city. Sometimes, there may be little true to them or no true to them at all. And like I told you at the beginning of this show, a lot of times as mayor, you don't get a chance to just communicate everything you probably need to communicate, because sometimes you're still working through people to get things done. And, you just can't divulge everything that's going on just to try to get things done. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of things that we're very happy about. And, we miss some of the people that we work with, of course, from a day-to-day standpoint. But from a standpoint of personally, we're at a real good space right now because I'm able to do some of the things personally that I would have never got a chance to do. So
let me ask this. As you look back on it, and everybody has something that they've done, you go, golly, I wish I hadn't done that. I wish I'd have handled this a little different, made this better. What is it that happened during your administration that you look back now and go, Percy could have done a little bit better on that?
So, Scotty, the one biggest thing that all the mayors can do in this form of government is with their department heads. I mean, the department heads work under the mayor, and when the mayor doesn't see that going in a direction they need to or want to, or when the council is just not going to work with that department head for whatever reason.
And we saw that when you left office.
Yeah. I mean, but it happened even when I was there. The bottom line of it is, there's some decisions. I don't regret anyone that that I hired, because at the time I was making the decision then, some people I gave opportunities to that, looking back, may or may not should have given them opportunities for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But I don't regret giving them the opportunity. Sometimes I regret not pulling the trigger sooner with some of the things that were going on, because sometimes either they weren't moving in the direction we needed to move in, or the council had stopped working with that person. And when the council stops working with a person, especially a person that plays a role of a CAO or one of your department heads, it's hard to move. It's hard to lead. It's hard to govern, because it takes 3 votes. And Scotty Ray, one of the biggest things that I want you and Candace to understand is everyone understands church and how church works. And just imagine a mayor being like a pastor, and you're sitting up there, especially in this past term, and you got 3 deacons who want to be the pastor of the church. And
Yeah.
they can be the pastor of the church if they get 3 votes. And so 3 of those people wanted to sit in the same seat as the mayor. And so you understand that, and they had a lot of decisions and say so on what happened and how we were able to move in any direction. And when you have that, and when you have that type of situation in a leadership standpoint, it's really hard sometimes to get past the things that you need to get past to move a city forward. So I say that a lot of times to say, you know, you have people with their own agendas for whatever reason in government, in local politics sometimes, and some things just get political. In the case of the past chief or whoever else I would have put up there, if I would have put them up there, they possibly could have still gotten voted down. Even though I wanted them to be the leader in those positions. People can make up their mind for whatever reason, you know, not to vote for this person for whatever reason. And I think when we get into tribal stuff, either black and white issues or Republican and Democrat issues in local government, no one wins. So
Right.
in local government, the streets don't care if that person is black or white. That street needs to get paid. I don't care if the Democrats or Republicans live on that street. That street needs to be paid. The question Candace asked me about crime, people black and white don't. They just want to feel safe and to spend their money in their home, or if they go out to spend their money in the city of Meridian. Those are not Republican and Democrat issues or black and white issues. But when your city gets so entrenched into those type of things, it makes it hard to lead and govern. It makes it hard for people who want to come in and invest money into a city and to set up a new business, want to come to Meridian. And so I hope that from a team standpoint, the new administration and the council work together, because those type of optics, of course, is not what we need. And being the first African-American mayor of this city were things that I always put first and foremost in my mind. That is, some people, for whatever reason, is not going to want my administration to be successful or me to be successful. And I surrounded myself, Scotty Ray, with a lot of times people who may not have shared my same political views or worldviews on certain things, knowing that at the end of the day, that we had to do the things that were going to be best to make Meridian successful. And in government and in local government, that ain't easy all the time.
No, it's not. No, I agree with you.
You know, people can say what they want to say, but it's hard to be successful in government, you know, right now for a lot of reasons that we talked about before this show. So, you know, that it is what it is. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, communications, and for people to understand that they've got to work together. And a lot of times, a lot of people are going to want to make leaders unsuccessful for whatever reason. And you still got to be engaging enough and have enough energy and enough vision personally to get through all of that to make your city successful. And only thing I wanted as mayor is, when I came into office, this city was supposed to be this retirement community, and
Right.
it still can be a retirement community. But the energy that we were trying to get for downtown, the energy that we were trying to get for this city, is we want to be competitive with the Hattiesburgs, the Jacksons, the Columbuses, the people on the coast and up in South Haven. We wanted to be vibrant downtown, and we wanted people that had young families to want to come and spend their money in the city. That's why a lot of our policies and a lot of the things that we did was focus on making those things happen. And from my standpoint, I did not do a good enough job of connecting the dots to make people see how those investments were going to end up indirectly and directly helping everyone across this entire city. So, you know, at the end of the day, I'm happy at the things we got completed. I was not happy in not winning the race, but I'm a serious competitor. But it has given me new doors, and God has allowed some other doors to open in my life, and I'm going to go down those doors until some other things happen. So I've been able to spend a lot of time with my wife, who, you know, everything that I've done, if it wasn't for her giving me the space to do it. I mean, I've had 2 bad situations. One, when I came to this city, to build my business, and I wasn't home a lot. And the second, of course, being mayor, when I was just spending a lot of time away from the house, that you know, I had unbalanced issues from my personal life to whatever world I was in. And so I get a chance to rebalance and refocus and re-energize my business and my home life. So I'm at a better space.
Right.
But I love being an ambassador for this city for 8 years. And, you know, anybody who's in that position, Mayor Smith, it won't be all his fault, but he's going to have to be the person who takes the lead for the entire city through the good days and the bad days.
All right, more coming up.
And
with
he needs
Percy.
to be on your show too, Scott.
Yes, I know.
Tell people what his visions are for this city, because it's a divided city in a lot of ways now, and it's a lot of tension on the ground in other places that needs to be really talked about and worked on. And no matter what he does or says, he ain't going to win all the battles, but you got to communicate to the people whatever you know you're trying to get done, and your department heads need to do that, because I still need the city to be successful, because I have my business here, and a lot of things that we initiated, I want to see those things completed. There are a lot of good projects out there, and I just hope that they get done.
All right, we got some more coming up with Percy in just a moment. Let's talk about Master Flow Plumbing. They'll help you out with any plumbing that you need, and they focus on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. If you're in that area watching us this morning, they're going to be there to take care of any problem that you might have with plumbing in your home, from the highway all the way out to the beginning of your home there. If you've got a water line that's busted, they take care of you there. We've had this happen. Roots go through your trees, through your pipes. Get that mixed up. But they'll help you there. If you've got underneath your home, and I know that Percy's dealt with this, with the insurance, homes flooding, you get this right here inside your home. Well, they can repair that, reroute all this, go up underneath your house and take care of it there. They'll do it for you. It's as simple as replacing a handle in your bathroom. Of course, the 90-day guarantee, $90 90-day guarantee, drain cleaning, Mississippi Gulf Coast, 228-870-0471, water heaters, toilets, even getting your tile completed there. That's all at Master Flow Plumbing. They'll take care of your bathrooms for you. See them today. Licensed, insured, 36 years. They'll fix anything when it comes to it.
I'm Richard Schwartz. If you've been in an auto accident, don't hesitate to call for legal help. Remember, the first 10 days following an accident are crucial. I am Richard Schwartz, and I'm here to help you.
Call Richard Schwartz today.
And welcome back with Scotty Ray and Candace. And we cut back to Percy. Percy, how are you over there?
Yeah.
I'm pretty good.
I just want to, first I want to, because somebody had said on one of the comments that we were trying to make you look bad. Do you feel that way?
Y'all just asking questions.
Right. I mean, I feel like we've been really fair as far as like.
You got any other, are you got some of your.
I just wanted to address that, because I didn't feel like we were, trying to make anybody look bad, but I think we're pretty fair, in what we've asked. So I just wanted to address that, but I do want to ask you though, like, do you know? Because I don't know. Do we still have a gang task force here in Meridian? Because I have no idea.
I don't know.
Okay.
I will say this.
Because I think that would be a good thing if we did.
It would be a good thing. And especially if they had great relationships with with the community.
Let me ask this. All right, we're sitting in 2021. Is Percy coming back in this next election? Are we going to see you run for mayor again?
I don't know. That's a good question. I won't close any doors, but I'm just at a different space, Scotty Ray. I'm in a different space right now. I mean, being honest with you, 8 years in local politics is a long time. It's a drag on you physically, mentally, spiritually, your home life. I had a conversation with my daughter at Mississippi State the other day, and I was finally able to talk to her about some things without my phone blowing up. I missed a lot of her events, and I can't make it up.
You can't. The time is, I spent 4 or 5 years out of town working, and if I could redo that, I would, because it's gone.
It's gone, man. So, that's where I am right now. I just, if God opens that door again, I won't close it. But the bottom line of it is, I can't say that right now. I can say that I want the team of people who are in place now to do well for this city, because I honestly feel like, from a standpoint of revenues and a standpoint of momentum, that our team left things in good order and on a silver platter. And the federal government is about to come in really soon and give this city $8 million that they can use to be proactive in a lot of the needs that are in this city. If they work with the state, they can multiply that to 16 million because the state is saying they'll double whatever the municipalities get. But even if they don't go to the state, they have $8 million to do a lot of good things for this city, and I hope they spend that money wisely.
We got about 40 seconds. I'll let you give yourself another shameless plug there of what you do for a living
Hey,
now.
man, what I do for a living, Scotty Ray and Candace, State Farm Insurance, Percy Bland, 601-482-5171. You got the best insurance team in the city. We got provide great customer service, great follow-up, and we'll take care of your cars, homes, renters, boats, sell life insurance. A lot of you guys should be getting a life insurance policy right now because of what's going on in COVID and what's going on when you turn on the news every single day. Look at the needs of your household. Look at your family. Take the earners off of that picture and see how much more life insurance you guys need to protect your family. Call us at 601-482-5171, Percy Bland State Farm.
Thank you, Percy. We appreciate it.
That's a good
Thank you.
commercial. Thank y'all for
There you go.
having me, man. I'll come back one day, but that's what I'm doing now. And if you ever need me back, and if you got your viewers want to ask me the real crazy conspiracy theory questions, I'll answer them one day.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Percy. We do appreciate it.
All right.
We've had a great time, and we'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning, beginning here at 8 a.m.